And we should be starting. Just waiting for my feet to catch up. Okay, the race bot said go, so we're just waiting for everything to catch up. And go. All right, so the first thing you're going to notice that our runners are going to do is they're going to race into the weapons shop and they're going to buy themselves a hammer. They're then going to go through and do some quick menuing to make it so we have the memory cursor. So putting the cursor on memory is what allows us to use the glitch. So there's a glitch that we will be abusing throughout the entire run, which because the game when it was coded used the same identification code for weapons and armor. We actually tricked the game into thinking that the hammer that we're attempting to equip is the knight's armor because you move the cursor. So the cursor for the person who's supposed to be equipping the hammer is on the weapon slot, and then you move over to the next character, put the cursor in the glove slot, and when you press the bumper and X really quick, you trick the game into thinking that instead of equipping the hammer, you're actually wanting to put the knight's armor on, which is great for us at the beginning of this run because the knight's armor is usually a piece of equipment that you don't get until Belmont, which is about a third of the way into the run. So at this point, it makes us fairly OP when it comes to defense at this stage of the game. So you'll notice that as Soma's moving around on the world map, he's doing his best to avoid the forest tiles as much as possible. The reason you avoid the forest tiles is because the forest tiles have the highest encounter rate. Now the marsh tiles that Soma just walked across have some of the lowest encounter rate. So you'll notice throughout the run that our runners are going to attempt to maximize walking on the marsh tiles. So that way they can limit how many random encounters they have. So Soma is moving in to grab the leather cap. We will use the leather cap, and now we're going to glitch from an armor slot to a weapon slot. What this does is this gives us the Judgment Staff. The Judgment Staff is a staff that we would not normally get until probably, it's one of the bonus dungeons. I've never played the bonus dungeons, so I can't tell you which one it's in. But the Judgment Staff allows us to cast a spell. And I won't spoil it for those of you that haven't seen it yet. We're going to use it fairly soon. So Soma getting ready to fight Garland. Kib has just gotten the leather cap, so she's going to start glitching. So she can get the Judgment Staffs. Now watch this. So this is how tough and powerful Garland is. We have a bunch of people equipped with staffs. And we just beat Garland to death. So much for knocking us down. See, Garland is all talk. Supposedly he was like a really tough and amazingly powerful knight in his prime. Apparently his prime is way past. Apparently he's past his expiration date because he goes down pretty doggone quick. Now, unlike most video games where you have to rescue a princess, usually that's the thing you do at the end of the run. In Final Fantasy, we rescue the princess up front because that's how we do things around here. Now, Soma, you'll notice, has moved up, talked to Princess Sarah, and now he has gotten the loot. Now, we're not talking loot as in like things that you get from monsters that give you more money or power. We're talking like the medieval guitar-looking thing. So you have to have the loot for the very last dungeon in the Chaos Shrine when we go back and revisit the Chaos Shrine. If you don't have the loot, you can't progress. But the problem is once you enter the Chaos Shrine for the final battle, if you don't have the loot, you're stuck because you can't go back and pick it up. So that was a way the NES version would troll you. The PSP version, however, fixed that. Now you'll note our runners both went and just got the loot because they know to pick it up. If you were playing casually and attempt to exit the throne room, the game will stop you and force you to go talk to Princess Sarah. So that doesn't happen anymore in the PSP version. Now here, you'll notice that both of our runners have inspired the Cornelians to rebuild this bridge. Apparently, commerce to provoke it was not a big thing for them. They didn't really care. So they just left this bridge in disrepair until the Light Warriors show up. Then all of a sudden they decide that this is important. Now what I want you to look at here on Soma's screen, since he's hitting it first, we've switched graphic engines. When you switch graphic engines, going from sprite-based to more of the cutscene-based, we can skip that cutscene. If it's a sprite-based cutscene, we can't skip those. Gotta watch the whole thing. But when we switch graphic engines, we get to skip. So Kib is now making her way over the bridge. Soma is walking through the marsh, trying to get to Provoca. And then he's going to hit the woods. We all hate the woods between Cornelia and Provoca because they are full of wolves. And wolves have a very high agility rate, and it's fairly annoying. And it looks like I'm joined by Chris. Chris, are you there?
I am here. Hello.
Hello! So now we're joined by my buddy Chris. He will help you with commentating, entertaining, and otherwise just keeping you busy until the runners complete their run.
I mean, sure, I can do those things. It looks like you are actually doing a fairly good job, which is why I didn't jump in earlier.
Well, thank you. So you'll notice here that Soma and Kib are both really, really close, which hopefully it stays that way. The races are so much more entertaining when it's really close. We had a race last week that was decided by 10 seconds. So Kib here has discovered what the problem is here in Provoca. It's pirates. Now you're going to see what Judgment Staff does. Judgment Staff, used as an item, casts Flare. For those of you from the NES era, Flare is a nuke. So we have just created the newest delicacy in Provoca, Pirate Krispies. But if you act now, you can get one. There's only 9 of them, so they tend to go fast. Well, actually, I guess there's now 18 because Soma just fried a bunch of pirates. All right, so Kib buying a leather shield here shows that she's going probably with White Mage Luster. So she's going to be glitching item to use for AoE magic. Soma, however, just sold the leather shield that he picked up as an item drop from Pirate Mage, and is now doing all of his item shopping. Having mic issues me cruel, you can be honest. I'm okay with it. The other issue we sometimes run into is because the server is owned by somebody in Europe and I'm in the US, it sometimes makes it so that my voice glitches in and out. Alright, well if you're having a hard time hearing me, let me go get a different set of headphones. I will be right back. So I'll leave this with Chris.
Okay, so while he is doing that, we are seeing them head towards the Marsh Cave. Marsh Cave is a fairly interesting place, and we're hoping not to see too many encounters there, but there are quite a couple of encounters that can happen. Soma has already made his way in, and Kibetha is making her way in now, and getting some they're not too unfortunate, but we really don't want to see them. But the reason we're going here is we need a key item called the crown. And the game really doesn't tell us where we need to go, what we need to do, especially in the speedrun. So, just making their way down to the basement floor, and they're going to be looking for a specific room, which is one aisle across and then 3 rows down. And they're looking for the crown, as I said earlier, but it's guarded by Pisco demons. And we see Soma here in the room, and he is healing up his party, which is always a good idea. And he will be nuking them with the Judgment Staff. So both of them got 4 Pisco demons. This is actually a good thing because of experience rolls. Sometimes you can get 2, sometimes you can get 3. You're hoping for 4, just for that extra bit of experience.
And the experience is especially big for Soma, since he looks like he usually does the Black Mage less dagger route. So for him, the levels are going to be very important as he's trying to qualify for the Black Magic as he goes throughout the run.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm glad you can hear me so much better. That actually makes me feel good. I love you guys.
Yeah, I had actually muted myself because I wasn't sure if it was coming from me, and then I was like, oh, I'm on the commentary stream, so I can't really hear you, except for from Discord. So I was like, oh, it's not me.
That's okay. I've been being told it was me since high school, so this is nothing new for me.
This is fair. I get the same thing. So Soma dipping out of that battle before an unfortunate thing called a paralock. Never want to see those.
Yeah, the thing that sucks about a paralock is because we have such high armor values at this point, it's a death of 1,000 cuts. So you may sit there for a while just getting hit for 1 hit point, 2 hit points for a while until hopefully someone comes out of the paralock. Or you just reset if you've got a save close to where you're at.
Except for 11 minutes in, we really don't have safety saves. So, yeah, it's essentially restarting the game and taking an 11-minute time loss, or 12-minute time loss at this point.
Which sucks. But looking at what Soma and Kib are dealing with, they have just discovered that the kindly Elf King in the Western Keep is not really an Elf King. He's a Dark Elf named Astos. But he's not like Driz Duwarden, so he's not a Dark Elf that has morals and ethics and values. He's the typical Dark Elf. So that's why we're going to kill him.
Or cool scimitar skills.
Yeah, he just does like death first round kills.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I've always preferred the melee ones rather than the spellcasters, but the spellcasters seem to be more prevalent in Drow society. So, it's unfortunate.
Now here's something I want everybody in chat to ponder. We're in a castle. We just killed the owner of the castle. So what's the one thing we walk away with? A crystal eyeball. Of all the things you could find in a treasury, what would possess an individual to say, you know what? Crystal eyeball, that's what I'm going to steal from this place.
I mean, the thing is we just gave him a crown. Where'd the crown go?
Good point. You could sell that for a lot of money.
I mean,
not that we really need money because we sold the knight's armor for like $1 gazillion, but
I mean, was the crystal eye in the crown? These are questions that this game really does not tell you.
Now here's where you're going to see the runs diverge. Since Kib is going with an item casting spell route, she does not dip into Elfheim, whereas Soma, because he's doing the Black Mage Lust Dagger route, he had to go in and he picked up the spells that he can now qualify for because of the leveling he got from the 4 Pisco demons.
Yeah, he needs to be level 8 for those. And the other thing that we're looking for is good HP rolls on the ninja and the black mage. They will be very important for later on in the game. Also, I want to point out the names for Kib. So, as someone who's been lurking her stream, those names are from The Last Remnant, which one of her friends bought for her, and she's been playing casually. So I can appreciate that, because it's another Square Enix game. Except for Bandai.
So here's one of the things about Final Fantasy I. Final Fantasy I, for the most part, has no storyline other than Warriors of Light arrive with dead crystals. Warriors of Light are the fulfillment of a prophecy to save the world. And that's about it. So to compensate for lack of storyline, we go with fetch questing. So we're actually about halfway through the first fetch quest in this game. So we have to kill Garland so we can get the bridge. We use the bridge to get the pirate ship. We use the pirate ship to go to Marsh Cave to get the crown. We use the crown to get to Astos to get the crystal eye. After we kill Astos, of course. We then take the crystal eye to Matoya, who gives us a witch's brew known as a jolt tonic. And then we go to wake up a sleeping elf prince. The sleeping elf prince gives us a mystic key, which allows us to go back to Cornelia Castle to pick up nitro powder to then blow up an isthmus to open up the rest of the globe. And there you have it. That's like the first third of the game right there. One giant fetch quest.
So yeah, we had Cruel in chat pointing out what was actually supposed to happen, but yeah, we were just pondering as to why things happen in this game, not the reasoning that they do happen game engine wise or quote unquote story wise.
You know, things people want to know. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's like, well, why is the Elf King asleep or Elf Prince asleep? But you know, that actually has story reason.
I'm assuming he just took too much. What is it? Xanax? Is that the sleep aid? Probably just OD'd and couldn't wake up.
I wouldn't know. I'll be honest, I wouldn't know.
So we have now woken up our sleeping elf prince, and we will promptly ignore him and walk out of his castle.
I mean, he gave us a key. So keys are nice, especially keys that open up things that are locked that we've not actually seen. Because, I mean, why would we go out of our way to do things when we don't have to?
Alright, so you'll see Kib. She's doing one of the major glitches that we do in this game, where she's taken the mithril hammer and she's glitching it on the helmet, armor, and glove slots of each of her characters, stacking the thief's armlet. So that's one of the cool things about the glitch, is it allows us to put items in slots that they would not normally be allowed to be equipped to. So this allows us to get a 10-point agility bonus stacked. So basically it's a 30-point stack of agility bonus. So that's really awesome. It makes it a lot easier to get away from things. Wolves can still be somewhat problematic, but wolves will be wolves. You know, it's kind of like, you know, kids will be kids. Wolves will just want really badly to always be an ambush encounter.
Yeah, so I just want to say, even though I pointed out in chat, Kib had a really clean menu. Really fast, really clean. And that's what we like to see. Looks like Soma's having a bit of issue.
And he mentioned he might be a little off his game. I think he like ate something that's not agreeing with him. So he said that he's feeling a little out of it, but he's trying to play through it.
I mean, I feel Soma's pain. So Kib with a 12 HP currently on Banzai.
Now here's another thing you're going to see that differs between the two routes. So you'll notice that Kib went into both treasure rooms. So she went into the first treasure room to pick up the mithril knife. Soma is not going to, because he's doing the Black Mage less dagger route, so he's focusing on specifically on magic. Kib had to pick up the Mithril Knife, because she will eventually, when she goes back to do some glitching later on, she's going to get some black robes, which allow her to cast Blazeria for free. And now our Duergar dwarf gets to do what all Duergar dwarves live for, which is to blow stuff up. We have fulfilled all his hopes and dreams, which, judging by the fact that he has a white beard, I mean, he could be in the golden years of his dwarf lifespan, so that's not a bad thing. Words of light help to make dreams come true. It's sort of like the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, Narek is a very cool dwarf, so he just walks away as the explosion happens. He doesn't look at it.
Well, there's actually a Lonely Island song about that called Cool Guys Don't Look at Explosions. They just turn around and walk away.
Yeah, that's what I was making a reference to. I'm glad somebody got it. It's so old.
Hey, I'm here for you, man.
I appreciate you.
Now, the other thing, just to point out again, that during this explosion scene, because we switch graphic engines, that's why Soma and Kib can skip it. So it's one of about 3 of the cutscenes that we get to skip because it switches graphics engines. The rest of them we have to suffer through because video games. Explosions. I love watching explosions on video games. It's so much fun. Now that whirlpool you see there, that's a bonus dungeon. We're never going to go in there, so don't worry about it.
So yeah, we see Kib grabbing, I want to say it's no, it's Steel Gloves. Sorry, I'm not entirely awake yet, so I don't know my menu glitching as much as I should. But she is using that to make what is known as barbarian swords, and also using the leather shield to make a mage's staff. And mage's staff is nice because it casts Fira on all enemies, and it has like 4 seconds less animation than the judgment staff.
Let's see, so if I was to spitball it, I think Kib has about a 45-second to a minute lead currently on Soma, which in this game is not a whole lot. RNG can play a huge factor in equalizing this run.
In this game, that means nothing. It means nothing. You can be 5 minutes ahead and RNG will just equalize a run in an instant.
So Kib is slowly making her way, and I emphasize slowly because RNG, through the Earth Cave. So she's gone through B1. She's now painfully trying to get through B2. Gosh, I hate the RNG in this cave.
I mean, so there's like 2 layers of RNG here. You have the encounter RNG, and if you notice those bats can block your way. Those bats are the worst NPCs of all time. The blue hair guy is really close, but no, bats can just wreck a stride and cause you to wait here for multiple I want to say minutes. I've seen it happen, unfortunately, in my own runs that I've just reset. But yeah, like there on Kib's screen, just bat decided to go down,
and that's called being bat blocked.
It's okay. It's okay. We're going to see Kib hopefully not get paralocked and kill Batman. I call him Batman because he is a bat, now he's a man thing.
Ready? And here it is. Boom. Transformation time.
So, do you want to talk about this encounter? Wait, never mind. It's dead.
Wait, already?
Yeah. So,
just like Garland, big talker, but couldn't walk the walk.
Well, I think he went down quicker than Garland, but that's also because we're not using judgment staffs. We have Barbarian Sword, and Barbarian Sword is like 2.5 to 3 times more powerful than Excalibur, simply because it gives extra stats as well.
As I recall, Barbarian Sword is something that you would get in a bonus dungeon. So
it is
bonus
obtained,
for us.
Yeah, it is obtained from Chronodia, the most powerful version of Chronodia, by the way, because there's like 10 different versions. And that's from the PSP exclusive dungeon that we will get a cutscene for later on. But for those wanting stats, Barbarian Sword it provides 134 attack, 20 accuracy, 18 strength, and 15 stamina. And technically only equipable by the Warrior, the Knight, the Red Mage, and the Red Wizard classes. But we have it on the Thief and the Warrior. Equipment glitch is really nice.
And it's awesome because it essentially makes the Thief a cannon. And Soma getting a bat block.
Bat blocks are great, guys.
Now the other thing to point out is on B3, you'll notice that Soma had a Pisco Demon encounter. Throughout this entire game, Pisco Demons are always an unrunnable encounter. You will have to fight them every single time. And they're the first unrunnable encounter that we run into in this game. And we will, if we don't point it out, the runners will point out the unrunnable encounters because those are the encounters where they will kill things.
Or in case of some runners, forget that you can't run from them. And the game doesn't tell you can't run from them. And they may try to run multiple times. Hopefully they don't and they catch it, because these are really good runners. But it does happen.
Yeah, I was racing against Soma in qualification, and none of my runs against him were really close. He pretty much crushed me both times.
Yeah, I've raced against Soma myself, and I got crushed in every race. I was also racing against Leo and got crushed.
Now, here's the cool thing about the Giant. Did you know that star rubies in Giant are called ruby schnacks? So we have just satiated our Giant friend, and in the slowest walking animation ever, he has walked away, getting out of the way so we can complete our next fetch quest. Because fetch quests are such a thing in this game. So to explain the current fetch quest, so we go into the Earth Cave to kill the vampire. We kill the vampire to get the Star Ruby. We give the Star Ruby to the Giant so he'll get out of the frickin' way. So we can then go to the Sage's Cave, get an Earth Rod to go back into the Earth Cave to use it to either whack or tap, or I don't know what they do. There's no animation. This tablet that's sitting over ladders.
So I just want to state that the Giant does not go to the stairs, because you can see the stairs, and like the small corner of the screen that's lit just disappears. We never see from him again, or hear from him again. So here we see them high-fiving, and Kib, no, don't get an ambush. So have you explained ambush rates and preemptives and all that yet?
I have not.
Okay, guys, so this game is so great. Ambushes, if it happens in a group of 9, which is the worst case scenario, each one of those get a turn. And if they're spellcasters, it takes so long. However, if it's a preemptive, glorious things happen, because even if it's unrunnable and you get a preemptive, you can run. So,
and Soma just got an ambush of 8 wolves. So now the wolves each get to hit him one time, or at least attempt, before he gets to try and run.
I mean, yeah, I will fully admit I am on Team Kib. So
now here's the other thing I forgot to point out. So Final Fantasy trope, when in doubt, go talk to a guy with a long white beard, and he probably has a key item that you need.
Yeah, it's true. The only thing they're missing is from Zelda 1, where it's just like, oh, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. But that's essentially what they're doing. Kib is ahead, Hollow. So, yeah, it's our girl Kib, the one with the last remnant names, except for Banzai, who is not looking too hot at the moment. No, it's based, I do believe, on agility and somewhat on evasion, which is why we stack Thieves' Armlets, but like most of the game, it's RNG. So, oh hey, look, they're oh, never mind, they're no longer synced. It was so close. Soma has caught up to Kib. And yeah, the RNG in this game is really on point. There's so much that goes on and so much that can go wrong. And especially when you're on good pace, it can go wrong. Like, Soma here got an ambush, which means all 6 of those wraiths are going to go first, and he could get paralyzed on all of his characters here, which would be very unfortunate. It's a good thing that we didn't see it, but we will be seeing him use a spell item instead. Kib in a similar encounter, but not with an ambush, it looks like. So here we'll see the difference between Judgment and Mage's Staff, and as we've seen on Kib's screen, Mage's Staff was so much quicker, having a 4-second time difference. Ooh, and getting very unfortunate Pisco Demons as well. So currently, Soma is in the lead, but anything can happen, anything can change. Just depends on encounters, which Soma's going to have a menu here. That way he can get rid of the poison on his white mage. And it looks like second Earth Cave is not being really kind to Kib at the moment.
No, the RNG's been pretty rough for her, both on her first trip in as well as in her second trip.
Ooh, that is a preemptive. That would have been a lot of enemies to have to deal with for an ambush.
And Kib with another unrunnable Pisco Demons.
This time opting to use swords because it is faster to just use 2 swords. If there's 2 or less, if there's 3 or more, it's a lot quicker to use a spellcasting item, which does not break in this game, by the way.
So Soma making it really fast through B5. Not one encounter. That's impressive, because the RNG on B5 is usually pretty bad.
Well, I do believe it is one of the lower encounter floors, which, not seeing any 1 in 64 encounters yet.
All right, so I didn't see. Did Soma do a safety save? Because I'm watching Kib do one.
I don't think he did, but he got through that fight pretty quickly. So Lich 1 here. I'm just gonna call him Lich 1. He tends to have this really bad moveset where he can cast this nice spell called Blizzara. And while we have good defense, we don't have good magic defense. And Blizzara wipes a party. Yeah, Kib's RNG is not usually this bad. I know she normally turns off Discord and all that. That way she can just focus. So I have no clue if she's having a little bit of focus issues because her Discord's still on. I'm also not in the SRL chat, so
I'm sitting in SRL, and there's no activity in there.
Okay. I've only seen Kib have bad RNG once, and that was a race against me.
Well, how awesome is that?
She got my time of 142, and I got a 143. Or no, I think she got like a 141.59. It was very interesting. So here we see Soma already out. He's on a ship. He is making his way to Crescent Lake. And Crescent Lake is an interesting place. We need it for a couple of things.
But Soma having a terrible encounter here on the ocean right now.
The sea wolves.
He's got Sahagin and Big Eyes. So you've got something with high agility, and the Big Eyes can paralyze. So it's just a terrible combination.
Yeah, very much so.
Which, again, great equalizer. Kib was behind, and RNG came into play, and now Kib's back ahead. This is such an awesome race. We're watching a lead change like constantly.
Yeah, this is one of the things that makes Final Fantasy 1 somewhat interesting to watch. Especially if you're not watching somebody do, ooh, Soma really overshot that. Because, yeah, while there's not a lot of fancy glitches like you'll see in, like, Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time or your normal Zelda game, there is only one glitch in this game, which they are using, and just the amount of RNG can swap a lead. There's nothing they can do to manipulate that. So it's always interesting to see how the game actually deals with things. And yes, poor Scythe is one of the more knowledgeable runners.
I think he wrote a doctrinal dissertation on FF1.
Probably. I wouldn't know. All of my answers either come from the wiki, which is where I get all my stats from, in case anybody was wondering. Kib just says it's magic. And I mean, I just speedrun the game, so I have no clue what influences it, really. Like, I just try to get away from stuff, and if I can't get away from stuff, I nuke it.
So Kib, needing another key item, went and talked to a guy with a long white beard and got a canoe. Now here's the cool thing. Where did this old guy have the canoe hiding? Because it's certainly not on the screen when he hands it to him. And it has to be a pretty big canoe because 4 grown adult people are in it.
It is a folding boat, which is a very interesting magical item in D&D. Always nice to have one around. And this game is nearly entirely based off of D&D. The original even had spell slots, which was fantastic.
So you'll notice with what Kib just did, well, actually she did about 20 seconds ago, the cool thing about the canoe and the boat is that you can put the ship right at a river, if there's a river that runs into the ocean, and the ship will just drop anchor and you can jump right out of the ship into the canoe. So that helps to cut some of the travel time off because you can just go straight into the fresh water and you don't have to go all the way over to the port.
So yeah, we see Kib here making a safety save in this cavern. Now, here's the reason for that. Oh, we may see it. Okay, so yeah, here's the reason for that. You see this encounter? Cockatrices can petrify. We didn't talk about it in the Earth Cave because it never came out. But instead of trying to really run from that, yeah, she ran with 3 characters and used Mage's Staff with 1. And they are equipment hollow. Just some of them have special properties. that they can use as items. So the thing is this cave can really just troll and wreck a run. We've actually had some people unfortunately forfeit in this cave simply because the amount of trollery that happens. Ooh, Soma gets an ambush.
So here's the thing about Ice Cave. Ice Cave will kill you.
Yeah.
It has so many ways it can do it. You have a 1 in 64 chance of running into ice dragons, who will kill you.
White
You
dragons.
can get ambushed by dark wizards, who can kill you. And then you can get petrified. Like it has limitless opportunities of how to just kill you and troll you.
I mean, Kib just ran into mind flares, and while they're closely related and more purplish than the Pisco demons, their attacks can just one-shot you. And I don't mean like they do that much damage. I mean, they have an instant death property, and we have no way to defend against that at the moment. Especially
if they paralyze you, because the mind flayers have an AoE paralyzation spell. So if they ambush you, you're probably going to reset, because they'll paralyze your entire party. And while you're paralocked and you're waiting and hoping for a chance to run, they can just insta-kill people one at a time. Not that that ever happened to me, but if it had, I probably still have some emotional scarring that I'm meeting with my therapist this week to talk about.
I thought that was just Final Fantasy 1 in a nutshell.
It is, and my therapist has been greatly joyed by the fact that I've been running this game.
So this could be bad. Okay, so someone makes it through it. I was fixed to say this could be bad. Because yeah, that was 3 paralysis on Soma's screen and just 1 regular person not able to actually move. And yeah, D&D influences throughout this game. This game was almost heavily based on D&D.
Now that's why when it was being localized to the US, when it was brought to the NES, there are some differences between how enemies were named between the Famicom version and the NES version, because TSR was threatening to sue, so they quickly renamed some things to other things. So they still look vaguely familiar to things you would have seen in the D&D bestiary, but they have a different name. So they changed like 10% so they could avoid getting sued.
Yeah, like Beholders or Evil Eyes, which is funny because like I do believe it's still called a Beholder in Final Fantasy 1 for the NES. I'm not entirely sure. No, it's just known as Eye. Never mind. But like they still use the name Beholder, which is one of the names that they got that they were threatened to be sued over.
Now you'll notice that.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay, so you'll notice that Kib is jumping back and forth on a spike tile. This is the one level grind that we do in this speed run. You're trying to raise the levels of your white and black mages, so that way you have easy access to the higher level spells we're going to use in this run. Which is why it was intentional that Kib got the thief and the warrior killed, so that way the experience is only being shared between 2 characters, so they'll level up a lot faster. And you'll notice Soma's getting ready to get started with that. Uh-oh. Oh, whew. That was actually the death stare. So that could...
Oh. That paralysis.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what?
So, yeah, we're seeing Soma get some pretty bad RNG on this. Ooh. Ooh. So, yeah, this is...
All right, so waiting to see if this is actually what happened. It looks like Soma may have forfeited the match. I'm not seeing him restart, and his timer has stopped.
Feels really bad, man. Feels really bad. Oh, that hurts my soul. Man, I've had that happen so many times, and I'm just like, oh God. Oh, I really hope Soma continues on. I really do, because he does have a safety save. But
Yeah,
I think
it's still
at the beginning.
it's still doable. There's lots of places where this game can, like the Sunken Shrine and the Chaos Shrine are both places where RNG can still really come into play.
Oh no, someone has said in chat that he stopped. Oh, that is unfortunate.
So since the level grind, you'll notice that Kib has brought her thief back to life. The reason her thief is being brought back to life now and she left the warrior dead is because the warrior pretty much at this point has all the leveling that we need for him to do damage physically. So we're hoping to get the thief to level up a little bit, so that way, hopefully, when he becomes a ninja and has access to the lower black magic spells, he can pick up haste. By having both the ninja and the black wizard having haste, it can actually cut at least one, if not 2 rounds off of the final chaos fight. Now here's a cool bit of trivia. So this airship that you're seeing flying is actually Lufenian. So it's Lufenian technology that just was left in a desert for some silly reason.
So.
Oh no!
Oh, and Kib didn't safety save.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh,
run,
okay.
Run. Oh my gosh, that could have been terrible.
Oh my God, that was a
Kib,
real
you are
clinch
so
moment.
lucky. Oh my gosh. That is why a lot of people will safety save. For instance, Porsyth. You'll see Porsyth will always safety save before going across that desert because there's always that chance. And our magic defense is so low that Earthquake will usually kill everybody.
Yeah, Earthquake's also a one-shot kill spell.
Oh my gosh, that was almost terrible.
My heart may have stopped for a second there because I seen it and I was just like, oh no. Oh no.
So Kib has talked to another member of the Duck Dynasty band and now has access to the Citadel of Trials.
So, I have to point out, we don't see any ducks in this run. Plenty of bats. But there's an item coming up that we don't see any members of its race, or I should say species, in this game either. Oh hey, Minotaur zombies, they are unrunnable.
Hey.
I mean, Soma takes a loss, and will drop down to the losers bracket. But other than that, not really. I mean,
forfeits were a much bigger deal during qualifiers because you got an automatic time of 3 hours.
Yeah. So, it puts people on a very unfortunate spot.
Uh-oh. There's one stone. Oh, good. I was afraid we were going to see petrification. So, as Kib's going through the Citadel of Trials, you'll notice that there's a lot of teleporters. Now, the first time as you're going through it, you may wonder, how the heck do you know which teleporter to go through? Well, boys and girls, I will help you know that. Take the bottom teleporter. Every time, bottom one. Every time. And you'll be fine.
Yeah, the maze portion of this game did not did not come into effect. It's just, yeah. So this nightmare encounter that Kib is at is actually runnable, but because we have such low agility, there's no point in trying. Unless you get a preemptive or you are stupidly doing a meme race against, at the time, a fellow co-commentator, and then you run from it anyway. And then you get away from it.
Now, the other bonus of fighting these nightmares right now is you're collecting some more experience for that thief, because we still ideally would like that thief to get a couple more levels, so that way he can learn haste. If he can learn haste, that is such a huge bonus.
So I just want to state at this point, Banzai is coming through for Kib. Was looking a little bit anemic before, but got a really good 165 HP, and just really want to see that hit around 270-ish is what Kib says. Really, really looking forward to that. So if the HP rolls are good, we could have, if Kib does get haste on Ninja, which I don't think she ever does, could still go tonicless. Stat gains are somewhat random. There are some that's just like either completely minimum, completely maximum. This game was coded weird. I do believe health pools are either completely minimum or completely maximum, but you do have certain levels where you are forced to gain health, which I do believe is always minimum, but you have a chance of gaining stats randomly on level up too. So,
all right, now Kib still hasn't saved, and she's about to go across the dreaded desert of death.
I think she heard you on that one. I know she's not in chat, but man, that couldn't have been better timing. I couldn't help but laugh at that. That was great. So Soma got frustrated. Evil Eye was not very cooperative, and he forfeited. Yeah, he flat out stated that he rage quit in chat. It's very unfortunate, but all Kib has to do now is has to finish.
And you know, we could get lucky. Kib could, if she wanted, help us see a war mech.
I don't think she's going to, though.
Oh, maybe we can convince her.
I mean, she can't hear us.
I don't know. She did safety save.
And yeah, from Kib's timer, she is behind her PB. Her PB is ridiculous in this game. It's like a 126.06, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. I just know it's a 126. So yeah, she has a really good time. Yeah, if you want to participate, want to learn Final Fantasy 1, we do have a Discord. We do have like 3 different guides floating around. The Lust Dagger is probably the most popular. I got you, man. I got you.
Thank you.
But join the Discord. We're all very helpful. We tend to have like group therapy meetings after races. Simply because this game does whatever it wants.
Now, Chris, how long have you been running this? I've been running it since probably around early December is when I started learning the run.
Okay, so I have to actually look when I posted my first time, because I remember like my first time being a 2-hour. I don't remember when. That's the bad part. Like I seriously do not remember when my first run was. Okay, so my first PB I posted was like 4 months ago. So I would say longer than that. I'd say probably around August of last year, off and on.
Okay. I was actually doing a business trip overseas when I started trying to learn the run, because I just dragged a PSP with me, and that was in probably the second week of December. But the reason I point that out is with about 45 days of practice, and that was inconsistent practice because work and 5 kids make it kind of hard to be able to consistently practice. I was able to go from my first run being a little over 2 hours. I think it was 2:11 was my first real time. By the time my best PB, which was actually during a race, was a 1:37. So that's within 60 days of starting this run. So it's really easy to get into. It's not hard to learn. There's a lot of dungeons, but once you have them memorized, it's really easy to get through. So this is a really easy for anybody who, even if you haven't, this was actually really my first game that I've learned a speed run for. So you don't have to be a pro to be able to do it. Though if you want to get into if you want to crack the top 10, you need to be a pro. So watch Poor Scythe.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe he is going for a world record, which is a ridiculous time. But we can get into that in a second. So, things that we haven't commentated on, because we got into talking about joining Final Fantasy 1 speedruns. Kib went to a desert to grab Fairy Bottle and some Giant's Tonic. Giant's Tonics will come in later. She went to Gaia to free the fairy that gives her Oxyel so she can breathe in the 3rd dungeon. Ooh, fire elementals.
1 in 64.
Yeah. So the other thing is when she went to Mount Gold, because there could be a bit of a route difference there depending on the runner. But she went to Mount Gold and she was stepping on the lava tiles. And the reason that she was doing that was because you take damage on those tiles, but you cannot get an encounter. So it helped keep encounters down, makes Mount Gold really fast. The downside is if you don't heal and you get an ambush, it's an instant wipe, because typically you have really low HP values and a group of hellhounds can just continue to blaze your party and you're gone. You have to restart over, and there was no safety save, I do believe, at the start of Mount Gold. So here we are seeing another crystal lighting cutscene, and it is unskippable. There are 2 more of these after this. They always show the crystal being lit, and then the bonus dungeon being unlocked from the GBA Dawn of Souls release. And obviously, the bell tolls for Merilith because she died. But here we see Kib leaving Mount Gold, and she will be making her way over to Elfheim. This will be the last time that you see Elfheim. And the reason being is we need haste. Haste is a really good spell. Later Final Fantasies consider it a time magic spell. This game, it is considered black magic. And the plus side to it is because you really don't have an active time battle system in this game, you can't really speed up how many times your character acts in a certain time period. What it does is it actually doubles the amount of hits you get. And if you notice, every time that they go in battle, they attack, they have a little hit number above their head. So double the number of attacks doubles the damage that they do, approximately. And then going to Melmond here, because need Healara, which is our main healing spell, and teleport. And teleport's really nice. What it does is it actually brings you back a floor. Ooh, and Kib looked a little bit lost there. But from there, everything is on the way to Onrak here. And we'll be parking right south of the desert and using the folding boat, canoe, whatever you want to call it, to get over here to Onrak. Unfortunately, getting an encounter, but it is a runnable. And from here, she will be going into Onrak, and that will allow her access to Sunken Shrine. Sometimes you can go on autopilot and you just forget where things are. It's happened to me multiple times.
So here we are. Kib is going to talk to a mermaid, and here's one of the superpowers that mermaids have in Final Fantasy 1. They can fly.
That is a 3rd level wizard spell. They need to quit.
So
I
now
guess
we're in
Warlocks get it too.
the barrel. In Final Fantasy 1, this is a barrel. I don't know what they're calling it in the PSP version. In the NES version, it's a barrel.
It looks like a barrel. It acts like a barrel. Probably still a barrel.
Here's an unrunnable encounter. Sahagin Princes and Chiefs.
So yeah, that those gauntlets that she picked up in the Citadel of Trials get the first use here. They're actually known as Zeus gauntlets in the NES version, and they cast Thundara. They're kind of nice to have. But so she will be going technically up floors. I will always consider it down floors because Kraken is obviously the end goal of this dungeon, and he's top boss, so he has to be at the top floor. My numbers are mixed up. So water elementals here are very fun. You would figure thunder would do more damage. Nah, you want ice. Ice completely wrecks them. Thunder does not. And this floor that Kib is on is actually really good. As you can see, this run is looking so clean through this floor, there are no encounters. However, there is a stone, and we need it. It's another fetch quest item. It never gets old. So...
And Kib casting teleport. Did you explain what teleport was? I actually just had a call, so I just dropped off of the chat for a second.
Yeah, I did. I explained most of the spells. I did not explain the spells for Soma's side, but I figured they were pretty explanatory.
All right, now which? So did Kib pick up the 4th level light axe, or?
No, I think there's like very few of us that do that. We're crazy enough to do that. So, brought up light axe. That is an item that Kib will be getting on 2nd floor. And the reason it's needed is it turns into survival vests, which are really good. They're the armor of choice that we will be using for the rest of the game. Give pretty good stats. I can look those up if anybody's interested. But there's like 3 light axe treasure chests in this dungeon, and I think Kib's just getting completely lost. This one is our normal one, but the reason Kib goes all the way to the right is because the left and the bottom side have a forced encounter tile. On the 4th floor, after the Rosetta Stone floor, if you go left, there is actually a room with a light axe box, but it's like 5 tiles faster. But 4th floor has a higher encounter rate, so most people typically don't go for it. I prefer it because of the fact that I can do my menuing and then just teleport out. And then I have that extra safety because Survival Vest does give a little bit of agility, a little bit more agility. And it's really nice to have.
All right, so Kib has finished her glitching and is now moving to the 1st floor, where the most dapper dressed octopus is waiting.
So I want to say that Kraken wears a cloak of many factions, but the way it moves, or I say moves, it's just drawn that way. I want to say it's a cloak of billowing. It's very dramatic, but it looks oh so cool. Yeah, I may be a little bit of a D&D nerd. I'm not sorry.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially since this game is based on D&D.
I know, right? So,
right. Here we go.
For those that are wondering, Kraken is a really sore point in the NES run, so I hear. But don't blink. You may miss this fight. So yeah, Kraken's dead. 2 attacks. And yeah, Kraken is officially Jessica Rabbit now. I mean, have you seen those legs? Legs for days.
But you know, the funny thing is he has all those tentacles and only hits one time, and he hits so soft. It's like you're being attacked by a feather duster.
Yeah, it's true. So here we see another GBA bonus dungeon being unlocked. And for those of you that are curious about this, we don't see them in this run. There is another category called All Bosses, which should never be ran. I'm not salty about that run whatsoever. But yeah, we don't see those. Though for those interested, there are bosses from like different Final Fantasies in them, like Cognizant from Final Fantasy IV, who uses Tsunami 3 times in a row.
Or everybody's favorite, Ultros from Final Fantasy VI is in here. And the Phantom Train from Final Fantasy VI are in those bonus dungeons.
Okay, but I don't like the Phantom Train fight in this game because I cannot suplex it. It is customary to suplex the Phantom Train because it looks so great.
Which is why I could never speedrun Final Fantasy VI. Bad block.
Yeah, because if you don't suplex it, your run's invalidated. It's like not getting the chest after Moldorm 2 and Ganon's Tower. You have to validate the run somehow. So, Kib is in the Waterfall Cave here. And Waterfall Cave, if you can't already tell, has a really high amount of encounter RPG. And it's not friendly.
So this is a cave where you need to make sure that you keep your Jedi focus, because you will hit so many encounters and it can be so frustrating that if you take a wrong turn, you'll walk in a completely wrong direction and it can completely throw you off. So it's important to make sure that you remember where you are in the cave and where you're going. Because it is probably one of the biggest single floor maps in the game.
I mean, there is one that's coming up that is pretty huge, especially if you don't know where you're going. But we'll touch on that later.
The Eternal Floor.
Yeah, the Eternal Floor. So yeah, this door that Kib is fixing to go into always has a forced encounter on the other side of it.
Oh no! It's an ambush with Pyrolisk and a Cockatrice. But so far, she is so freaking lucky.
So yeah,
not one.
That was not commentator's curse. I didn't get anything set off yet. Just that there is an encounter here. But here we grab the ribbon and grab the warp cube. The warp cube is the second to last fetch quest item that we need. But the ribbon is very interesting. So all of the equipment that we've glitched so far, we've only grabbed it because we want something else out of it. However, for the ribbon, we create the Gigantax. People call it the Gigantax, and I don't know why. But we use it to create the Gigantax, and we use that to recreate ribbons on the shield slot, which is something that's not really been being used. Simply because if you put the wrong thing on there, it soft locks the game if the shield animation comes up. However, Survival Vest, Lordly Robes, and Ribbons are safe to use on that slot, and yeah, it's a very nice thing to have. So, getting the Rosetta Stone and Warp Cube, Kib is going to Melmond for the very last time, and using her words, she's gonna learn a language in like 5 seconds. So Dr. Une, he sees the tablet / Rosetta Stone / slab. He gets really excited, and he's going to teach us a language. And hand wave, hop, hop, hand wave, hop. And new language. It is a very, very fancy form of charades with, I believe they're like 16 by 16 pixel sprites, maybe 32 by 32. Charades. It works.
But it's just so funny. It's almost like Dr. Une looks at the Rosetta Stone and he's like, "Oh my god, Lufenayan!" And he just like loses his mind, and then promptly learns the language within like 5 seconds. Which was it really that hard?
Yeah, and then teaches you. I mean, I kind of want to feel like he translated the slab and then just gave it back to the Warriors of Light, and then just taught them basics. But we get such lovely dialogue from all of the NPCs in Lufenia that we don't talk to, except for to get the last key item.
Now you'll notice as Kib is making her way to Lufenian, or Lufenia, whatever. It's such a silly place. Who really cares? But as she's making her way there, she's trying to maximize walking on those marsh tiles because there's so much forest between the airship and where we're going.
Yeah, and if it wasn't stated, forest tiles have a higher encounter rate, marsh tiles have a lower encounter rate than grass, which it's like 1.331 and then 0.67. I'm making those numbers up. Do not quote me on those. I pulled those completely out of thin air. But yeah, so this place is nice. Oh, hey, good RNG.
No
what is this?
Blocks. Nice.
What is this? I'm calling hacks. So I hate this place. Let me be clear, I really hate this place. Anytime I come here in a run, I get blocked by 2 NPCs, bare minimum. I hate that place.
It's because it's such a silly place. Maybe we shouldn't go there.
Except for we have to. We need the chime to get into the 3rd to last dungeon, which, let's be fair, it's the 2nd to last dungeon before Tiamat. And it grants us access to Tiamat's dungeon. It's dumb. Also, I do believe Kib has gotten all but one encounter with Minotaur zombies.
So what's funny is, in SRL chat, she asked me to count the zombies. So far, we're at 16 zombie Minotaurs since she landed.
Hey, Winterwolf. Nice. Yeah,
16.
I cannot join the chat, so unfortunately I can't even get the times at the end of this. I kind of joined late, admittedly, because I was kind of sleeping in.
Hey, it's all good, man. I got you.
I mean, I appreciate it. I had to have somebody to co-commentate with. And since Kib's racing, we had to break up the team. I
know, we broke up the band, but that's okay.
It's okay, I got you, and I appreciate you.
I already asked her what color sticks she likes, and she said green ones.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I only have pink tail. Which, that's a joke for another time. Someone did say, but just didn't really want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, he saved at the beginning of the ice cave, but the RNG cycle he had with Evil Eye was the nightmare one. That doesn't usually happen, but when it does, it's a swift kick in the balls. It is not. It's really frustrating when that happens.
So, I want to point out, Pisco Demons, completely unrunnable. Kib is run from 2 groups of vampires. So, vampires are an interesting bunch. If it's just one vampire, you can't run from it. If it's a group of vampires, you can run from it. Only enemy I do believe that is like that, though. But holy crap, this RNG. RNG, this is not very kind. But I need everybody in chat to do me a favor. Post us some Bless RNGs. We want to see Warmech. We want to see Tyrannosaur. We still have time for that.
Sorry, get that Warmech hype going.
So please give us some Bless RNGs. We really want to see it. At least I want to see it. I don't think Kib wants to see it, but I want to see it. And it's about what the commentators want, right? So
I'd like to think so, because I think I'm pretty special.
I mean, are you Banzai tier? Speaking of Banzai, Kib's Ninja has 250 and her Black Mage has 242 HP.
Wait, really? Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
The White Mage is looking more anemic than I have seen. But holy crap, depending on the levels, she could go tonicless. Also, because we spoke about it in Waterfall Cave. So this next floor is endless. I really hope I can post a map and nobody gets mad at me. Because I don't know how posting links works in speed gaming. And like I said, I'm just hoping that nobody gets mad at me. So... Oh,
here we go.
Okay.
Here it is. Warmech. Wow, not. Oh, she's doing it. She's trying to farm him. Oh, air elementals, come on.
Yeah, that is a very good meme. But that link I posted is the map for the 4th floor. And as you can see, it has a lot of cutoffs there, but it loops continuously. So, yeah, that's not even the full map either. Like, there's so much place that you can go, and it's always 2 one way, and then you turn like 90 degrees, and it's 2 more that way. So, yeah, it's a very fun map. Also, Tiamat just kind of crumpled. So...
And now this is the 4th time we've seen this. I want you all to pay attention to this. They're surprised. They've just watched 4 crystals turn on, and every single time they're surprised. This, my friends, proves that the standardized test scores to become a Warrior of Light is not very high.
I mean...
Have crystal will travel.
But see, here's the thing, though. What Final Fantasy should really do is just turn those into bonfires and make everything harder.
Oh, we had an encounter.
Test score of 1 is too high. Kib is going for Warmech.
She's farming him.
So, Ray, I need you to do a favor for me. Tell Kib I appreciate her so much right now, because I can't do that. I am not an SRL chat.
Wait.
But I appreciate her so much right now. Oh, she gave up on it. I don't blame her. It's a 1 in 64, and that floor has really low encounter rates anyway. But I do appreciate her trying so much. God, that was great.
But you see, this is the problem. See, that this is those issues when you never get asked to prom in high school, it makes you shy. And the Warmech is just really shy. So I appreciate all the love that chat gave to Warmech. I'm hoping maybe in the next run that as we continue to tell Warmech how much we love and appreciate it and that we want it to come out and play, that maybe in the next run, Warmech will make an appearance.
To be fair, we've still not seen a Tyrannosaur yet, and Tyrannosaur is very shy. Probably because, you know, T-Rex very short arms. Can't really dance with anybody. So never really gets asked to prom.
And he can't do push-ups either.
I mean...
Now, looking at all these bats in here... Oh, here, I'm going to drop you some knowledge. Those are Lufenians that were turned into bats by Chaos. But you only know that after you learn Lufenian from Dr. Une. Because until you do that, every time you talk to the bats, at least in the NES version, I haven't talked to them in the PSP version, but in the NES version, they go key. It's a direct quote.
So this is Leo's favorite part, which he is talking in chat. So we have purple worms. Well, Kib has purple worms, and I believe that deep down she is singing that song. So yeah, purple worms are very special. Leo has a song for them. If you ever catch Leo commentating, be prepared for that. Also, hi, Death Eye. It is Evil Eye's greener cousin, and dies just as quickly. However, here we have Hype.
So that loot that we got from Princess Sarah at the very beginning of the game, now you need it. So you carry that stupid thing around the entire game for this one moment. Which, like I mentioned earlier, in the NES version, you could walk out of the throne room and not have the loot. So you could play through the entire game, get to that point, and be stuck. And there's no way back out.
It's true. Final Fantasy 1 was not a forgiving game.
They toned it down a little bit on the PSP version, but at the same time, I think they ratcheted up the RNG. I think the RNG might be worse in PSP than NES.
No. I made that distinction once, and I was promptly shot down. No, it's not as bad as NES. I hear NES is still worse.
Oh, man.
Just, we don't get equipment glitch in NES, so we actually have to try.
Now, this floor is probably my least favorite floor in the Chaos Shrine. Not because of the purple worms. I'm down with purple worms. That makes me think of the Jimi Hendrix song about purple haze running through my brain. But it's the white dragons. The white dragons here are awful. I have had to reset more than once walking through that floor.
So, Kib here in the worst floor of Chaos Shrine, known as the Earth floor. You will see many remnants of Earth Cavern here. I call them remnants because, like Earth Cavern, they should not exist. Oh, hey, ambush. So, yeah. I don't like this floor. Kib should make it through it just fine. See, I played the NES version up to a certain point, but I've never actually played this game casually, outside of like all the way up to maybe post Lich 1.
Wow. Wow. That's cool.
Did your feed stop? Oh, there we go.
It's slide showing. So while we're waiting on that, Lich 2 is very fun because it can nuke the party, and Flare is not a very fun spell, especially if you've not healed. But I do want to shout out to Rush and Banzai. Rush has 277 HP, and Banzai has 267, so she could go tonicless. And that is something that we want to see, though she will probably do it for safety, much to Leo's displeasure. Is it on the actual feed as well for everybody else as well that it's slow-mo?
Yeah. Well, so is he on now?
Oh, there we go.
So So what was the deal about him writing? Was like.
Okay, so it was Kib's stream. That makes sense. So here we see Kib on fire floor. And yeah, it's it's not got unrunnables, but you know, it is what it is. And Kib looks to be buffering again.
Now, one thing I want to point out in the Chaos Shrine is the Fiend tiles are spike tiles. They're a mandatory encounter tile. So if you accidentally step the wrong direction, you have to refight the fight. So if you're in a time crunch, it actually adds about another 2 minutes or so because you have to refight the fight, which really sucks.
I mean, yes, Red Solo Cup. Lava Worm is green. Green is the most fearsome color for worms. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. So yeah, Kib is making her way to the water floor, and water floor is the second worst floor. We have debates, or at least Kib and I do, on whether earth floor or water floor is the worst, and we decided earth floor is actually the worst. Water floor is second. But I would commentate more, but Kib streams dropping frames.
So the worst thing about that water floor is that it's so long. I think aside from the earth floor, it's the longest one to traverse going from stairway to the encounter.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, oh, I was fixing to say we just lost Ray, but Ray's back.
Oh, I'm here. I'm just silencing when I'm not actually talking.
No, you actually like dropped out of the channel, and I was like, oh God, no. But yeah, it's really hard to cast a slideshow, but it is on Kib's end, and both of these runners are European, I do believe. I don't know where exactly at, but I know Kib is UK. I don't know where Soma's from. So that is my bad for not knowing that. But yeah.
He's in Europe somewhere, because that's when I was racing him, I had to use Western European time.
Yeah.
So anyways, there I was, just minding my own business, and a stream started dropping frames, and I just didn't know what to do. So I just started telling bad jokes about water elementals getting Blizerga and somehow turning into swirling dervishes of sharp ice. Because it still doesn't make sense to me that Blizerga or Blizeria is the weakness of water elementals.
Well, no, it makes sense. They have no ground, and if you know anything about electricity, it would just continue to swirl. However, you could freeze the water and just shatter it.
All right, so Kib is doing the Kraken 2 fight, which you will see is not that much harder than the Kraken. And just to let everybody know, I told Kib that that she's dropping frames. She's tried to fix it on her end and is still having some issues. So it very well could be just her internet provider.
Yeah, my internet provider does that to me on occasion. It's not a very fun experience when you're trying to stream a race.
So Kib is moving to the last spike tile. She's going to take on Tiamat 2.
So yeah, hopefully we should see Kib's stream come back here in a second.
So, in trying to answer where is Soma from, questions that people wonder, according to the flag next to his name,
Christmas Island.
Yes. Dang it, you beat me. I did too much of a lead up, didn't I?
Yeah, I had speedrun.com open because I looked up Kib's time.
Beat me to it.
I mean, speedrun.com has been open for me like this. So while we have time here, while Kib's stream is lagging, Tiamat Easy, she will be doing her final menu, which is essentially Barbarian Sword and Ribbon on Black Mage, Golden Staff, Lordly Robes, and Ribbon on Mage. But I'm going to preempt. Oh, here we go. She is actually in the chaos.
And she's actually already done. According to SRL, we have an SRL time of 1:30:47.
So
that's how far behind her stream is right now. She's already done.
Oh my. Tell Kib just to get in here for an interview. I don't know what's happening. If she wants to, I mean, I don't. Okay, so I'm going to preempt interviews real quick and give a shout out. Chat, you guys have been amazing, and I really want to shout out to Feasel and Speed Gaming for putting on the tournament, allowing us to put on the tournament, whatnot. It's fantastic working with them. So I just wanted to preempt interviews and just give that shout out. And please follow Speed Gaming's channels and watch all of the stuff that they're putting on, because they have a lot of stuff that they put on. Yeah, you can scroll down the panels and see it. There's a lot. So I do believe that is a Kib that just joined.
Hello, Kib!
Hi, guys.
So I'm watching you finally kill Chaos as you joined. Because, yeah, there was some stream issues there that happened.
I have no idea what's going on. I was just telling Ray in SRL chat. My OBS says dropped frames 0%. It was just, I don't know. It has the little red light. That's all I know. That's all I know about things.
So yeah, it was like slideshow there for a second, and Ray was just making jokes the entire time. It was not me this time, and it felt fantastic.
Nothing very exciting happened. I killed Chaos. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was an okay run. I think, to be honest, Soma could have caught up with me for that second half of the run. It was pretty bad.
He could have, just after his Eve Y encounter, he was just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to continue. But
yeah. He wasn't feeling very well, was he?
Yeah, I mean, I woke up late, and I essentially was like, oh, I promised to commentate today with Ray, and I was just like, I guess I better wake up. So,
I know, he did it for me.
It's true. So, how do you feel your run went?
Oh, my stream just died. Possibly Discord has died too. So
No, I can still hear you.
Okay. It was average run, and I'm sorry, not sorry for talking to the bats.
So. Anyway, so yeah, not your worst run. It was not a run against me. It was apparently a close second.
Now here's the thing, though. A 1:30 is still a really good time. I know it's 4 minutes slower than your PB, but it's still 7 minutes faster than my PB.
It felt kind of okay. Like it started off okay, and then I was kind of like, yeah, I feel like the game's trolling me now. My Citadel of Trials, what was that? I lost like 2 minutes on that split.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why I lost time after Tiamat. I'm really not sure. Like, it's almost like I was just running around in circles or something.
I think we
mean-
had some of your regulars in chat, and they were saying that they have never seen your RNG this bad.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen it worse, but it was quite bad. It wasn't great.
So, Kib, I have to point out your names here. You're really wanting to go back to last remnant, aren't you?
I'm jonesing for it.
I figured as much. I had pointed that out. I joined and I seen it, and I was just like, oh, Dave, Rush, and then Banzai. I was just like, man, she's really, really in the last remnant right now.
Yeah, and Rush got petrified like 5 times in a row.
I mean, it makes sense. It really does.
Yeah, he probably just like went and poked a cockatrice or something. Sounds like him.
I mean, I figured at some point you just like Omni Strike, but I didn't see that. I didn't see the Gable either. So I was just like, oh, so this is how this is going to work. Yeah, just too many interferences and deadlocks. For those that don't know, those are all last remnant terms. So
I don't even know some of them.
Your next match will be either against Leo or Cruel. So
that's gonna be scary.
How are you feeling about that? And who do you want to race more?
In all honesty, like Cruel has had some bad races and like one forfeit, I think, but he's also had some really, really good ones. Leo's had like consistently 130, 131. I don't think he's had anything else. So like I don't know. At that kind of level, it's basically just RNG. So FF1 gets to decide. Really.
I really feel like Leo and I are the most consistent in this tournament.
Very consistent.
Because he always posts like 130 times, 131. I think he's had like a 134. And then I just 142 everything. And when I race other people, I just drag them down with me. So, I mean...
I think that maybe if Leo doesn't do puzzle strats, he could kick my butt. But
I think even if Leo does puzzle strats, he has a fair shot. It's Leo. Puzzle is part of his game.
I'm also terrified of Cruel because he's cruel. I mean, he's like Big Daddy Cruel. I'm scared.
He's like a machine. I mean, he's still using the Barbarian Sword strat from Total Chaos 1, and he still is really crushing it on the time.
Well, to be fair,
which goes to prove that it doesn't matter what route you do, as long as you're good at menuing and you have good RNG, anything will work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not quite anything, but I get your point.
I mean,
knives at chaos, not a good idea.
Lack of Barbarian Sword and no ribbon at chaos. Also, just not doing your menus right and then dying twice. I mean,
no one would
whatever.
do that, though, right?
No one would ever do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, yeah, sad about Soma, but I don't think he was feeling very well and wasn't having it with the ridiculous evil eye. So,
yeah.
I feel like I've got a win I may not have deserved today, but I'll take it.
Whether it's a pretty win or an ugly win, a win's a win.
It is true.
So what were some of the things that stuck out to you as you were going through this run today, other than horrible RNG?
16 Minotaur zombies. That was good. Also learning that you can't use the major stuff on Minotaur zombies in the Citadel of Trials. That was good learning. I wasn't thinking very hard there.
Yeah, somebody in chat had commented on some of the stuff that was happening on your stream, and I was just like, yeah, once you let muscle memory go,
yeah, you see Minotaur zombie, you cast Mage's Robe, and then you're like, oh wait, that's in about 20 minutes when I've got more equipment on. Okay.
Yeah, when I can stack Lordly Robes for intelligence.
Yeah. But hey, you gotta try these things.
It never hurts to try. Just it's not very fast to do so. Also, do have to point out somebody who
The final
constantly-
four in our Total Chaos 3 tournament is all European.
Yeah,
It is?
it is.
Wow.
But I do want to commentate on something. You always talk about people not safety saving before the desert tiles, before
that was
Citadel
horrible.
trials.
Oh no, that was horrible.
So, Kib, what were you doing?
No, I never safety save before the desert tiles. Like, it's so rare to see that, and it's even rarer for it to actually hit all three of your party, which it didn't. So I still think that you don't need to safety save there. But that
you
was
always
bad.
commentate on it. I have commentated with you, and you're just like, "Oh, not safety saving." So I had to call you out.
At this point in the game, I think that's such a rare occurrence that you can get away with not safety saving. Also, Soma had already forfeited.
Oh, okay.
It's not pretty, but it's true.
I mean,
I can tell you
whatever.
that both Chris and I were like, "Oh my gosh, oh no!"
Yeah, same. That was
I mean,
scary.
At this point, it's whatever. So, do you have anything else that you want to add to your run?
No, not really. Just that I'm gonna go and play some more Last Remnant, and I hate Hollow. That's it. That's
Yeah.
about all.
Yeah, I'll probably stop by and see that. Shout outs though.
Shout outs to the usual people for looking after us, for Feasel for putting up with our rubbish on SRL chat, and also for restreaming, obviously. To Leo and Cruel to being nice to me in the next round. Yeah, that's it. That's about it.
Yeah. Ray, do you have any shout-outs? I have already shouted out Speed Gaming and all that while we were waiting for Kib.
All right, so I just posted some links. So if you're interested in following our tournament, you can look at the challonge.com website, and you can see where we're at with the brackets and follow that. You also have our schedule. As we schedule matches, that will be populated there. If you want to watch some of the VODs, there's a link there, as well as the Discord server. So if you liked what you watched today and you're interested in learning Final Fantasy 1, feel free to join the Discord server. All the guides that you need to get started are on speedrun.com. And we look forward to having an even larger community than we have, and hopefully having an even bigger Total Chaos tournament next year.
Definitely. My shout outs will be to Ray, who co-commentated with me and definitely kept the commentary warm while I was waking up. Kib
Yeah, thanks
and
both of you.
Kib and Soma for the race. Definitely very fun tournament. Shout outs to the Discord and the Final Fantasy 1 crew for always being fun to deal with. But for those interested in what else is coming up on Speed Gaming, a Link to the Past, No Major Glitches tournament is on Speed Gaming 2. Currently, just started like 16 minutes ago. Dark Souls All Bosses tournament is going on Speed Gaming. It still has about 45 minutes left, and there should be a Link to the Past randomizer daily race on this channel starting at 2. And then after that, I don't think Speed Gaming has anything set up until about 4. So definitely check below for the schedule. Definitely check out some of the other tournaments. I've been doing so as well. Definitely fun tournaments. My personal favorites have been the Sonic Adventure 2. I've watched some of the Cuphead. Definitely love Dark Souls. Super Metroid. I do believe Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer tournament has ended. I'm not too sure about that one. I caught the semifinals. And Link to the Past is always fun to watch. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Subscribe, follow Speed Gaming. They definitely put out some really good content, and definitely follow the runners. Follow my co-commentator. He is great. But that is it for me. So,
well, thank you all for watching. It was great to watch this race. Good job, Kib, for moving on into the final four. And there are 2 races on Saturday for this tournament that I'm tracking. I'm sure there are others that will get scheduled. So we look forward to seeing you all again on our next stream.
definitely.
Bye, everyone.